So, what's going on right now, chat? We are 10 minutes away from potentially, disappointment or excitement. I'm not sure what it will be. We'll have to see in a little bit. But if you were paying attention to earlier this year in regards to Street Fighter 6, there was this interview panel announcement where the director and producer of Street Fighter 6 both announced that there will be more frequent balance patches more than once a year. And this was around the time where they dropped the Season 2 balance patch, which I believe dropped in May. So, the Season 2 balance patch was the biggest patch we've seen for this game so far, and you can go to the StreetFighter6.com Buckler website and actually see all the changes listed here. I do really like how they keep track of the additions of the game and the versioning of it. So, it's all here, the system changes and all the individual changes per character at this time. And then they mentioned, more consistent balance patches. So, did that mean they're going to do quarterly? Did that mean they were going to do monthly? Well, come 2 months later, they released this balance patch here. And what is that? June. And it was essentially nothing. I can't even recall any specific balance changes. For the vast majority of these changes, these are mostly just bug fixes. There were some minor balance changes, but it was essentially things that you would read and almost not even understand at first glance what they're talking about. So extremely minor changes here to the balance in June. Then we had another balance patch, though, come September. And this one actually did have some balance changes. There was very tiny changes to Luke, like his pushback on certain buttons. JP had his crouching heavy punch anti-air nerf mostly reverted so that it was a solid anti-air, and they gave him some other tools to play with. And they did things like nerf Ed's meter build on his level 2, even though the dream combos still work and operate. But for the most part, it was still character specific. Not every character had changes, and a lot of the changes were minuscule bug fixes. So don't be fooled by the fact that every character here is highlighted. A lot of these characters just had specific bug fixes addressed. So really, this balance change impacted like 2 characters to a significant degree, I would argue. Maybe a small amount more, or even less. It was mostly just like JP and Luke, and then maybe Akuma and then Bison had some slight adjustments for the most part. Very minor balance update. So basically, this idea of there being frequent balance patches, people were expecting more along the scale of what was in the Season 2 balance update. Maybe not quite as exhaustive as this balance update, but something more to this degree where they're actually aiming to change the balance of the game and not to just do minor quality of life changes or bug fixes. So, will this continue the pattern? We're not sure, because we did have this announcement that there will be a big, not big, let me not add that word to this statement. That implies something that they didn't imply here. There will be a battle balance update on December 2nd for Street Fighter 6. Although this won't be a major update, they're implying the opposite. Like the Akuma one, all characters will receive changes. We'll publish the battle change list when maintenance starts on December 1st at 8 p.m. PT. So we're T-minus 8 minutes away from this update going live in terms of actually seeing the changes. Maybe the servers will come on soon after that as well. But they hedge your expectations here by saying this won't be a major update like the Akuma one, meaning the Season 2 balance change, where every character had major changes for the most part. But they're also specifying that all characters will receive changes, which is far more than what we saw in the subsequent minor patches, which, like I said, mostly bug fixes, and a few characters actually had balance updates. So it seems like it will be a larger balance update than we had post-Season 2, but still smaller than a Season 2 balance patch, which is all kind of crazy, because right now we are in the midst of the most Capcom Cup qualifiers occurring at this moment, because everyone's World Tour is wrapping up, the Pro Tour, I should say. So the Capcom Pro Tour is mostly filled with people qualifying via the World Warrior program. And at this moment, we do have a decent number of qualifiers decided via the World Warrior, but there's still all of these people who have not qualified for World Warrior. It is live! All right, it's time. Let's see. The purpose of these adjustments is to further balance the game, so there will be many changes to tune techniques up and down. There are also some adjustments being made that will impact all characters, such as changes to throws and jumps. Throws and jumps that will impact all characters. Wait, are they for real right now? For more details, please refer to the battle tuning concept for each character. Below, you'll find our overall adjustment direction. Are they saying they're getting rid of throw loops and they're... Let's just read. Let's not assume. All right? Adjustments to tune down certain aspects. We've taken a look at defensive techniques that can change a fight too significantly when the player gets a correct read. This is primarily targeting some attacks with invincibility and low-risk techniques that allow for side switching. If these techniques are too strong, the risk of being pushed into the corner of the stage greatly reduces. And the attacking side would also be taking on more risk than necessary, making it difficult to continue with their offensive, so we're making adjustments to alleviate this issue. You can't say that and then not mention perfect parry. To me, that just means perfect parry. If these techniques are too strong, the risk of being pushed into the corner of the stage greatly reduces, and the attacking side would also be taking on more risk than necessary, making it difficult to continue with their offensive. That's perfect parry. But let's see. Reassessing crouching heavy kicks on block. Oh! They're going to make sweeps good again? We've taken a look at how some characters' crouch heavy kicks works on after block and made it easier to counterattack. Oh! They got rid of how annoying Akuma's one. The pushback. They might be reducing pushback like Akuma sweep to sweep. Yeah, I feel like sweeps for the most part aren't that good in this game, except there's some glaring exceptions like Akuma. Sweep to sweep with Akuma was the best spacing trap in the game. With Street Fighter 6, we've made efforts to make blocked crowding. Listen, I'm tired. I haven't had any sleep. Please bear with me, but Capcom, you're not making it easy either. Blocked crowding heavy kicks, easy to counterattack when they're blocked, but due to their range and attack hitboxes, they could become easy ways to launch an offensive plan when used carefully. The difficulty in countering a blocked crouching heavy kick depends on the matchup, but some characters had more low-risk cases than others, so we increased the risk of using the attack by adjusting pushback on block and recovery. Okay, so maybe a universal pushback reduction. This change applies to Jamie, Ken, Cammy, Akuma, and M. Bison. Jamie got caught in the crossfire here. While yes, Jamie's sweep is actually the most broken in terms of the utility from all these characters, he had the least reward for you messing up your punish and not actually getting the momentum, right? So the biggest offender was for sure Akuma and low-key M. Bison, in my opinion. For sure. But Jamie's was actually the most abusable, but it led to the least amount of reward after. But I don't honestly mind them making this a universal change. I find sweep pushback being safe on block a really annoying matchup spacing check, in my opinion. Call me a scrub, tell me to learn the spacing in the matchup. I kind of just feel like it's a not satisfying, easily implemented, hard to counter kind of cheese thing. Like when a random Jamie player does sweep into sweep, I don't think, oh, that was so good of you, great spacing trap. I just think, oh, okay. Good job. You know, it doesn't make me feel like you're doing anything good. Hold. Let me add the command. Here, you can do exclamation point patch for the link, guys. Sorry, let me try one more time. Let me edit com. Okay. Anyways, please note that while there are other characters that are difficult to counterattack after a block, other than the ones noted above, we believe that their attacks can only be used in specific situations due to their interaction with other moves and their individual properties. So they have been left out of this adjustment. So literally just these characters got their sweeps nerfed on pushback. Adjustments to jump cancels. Jump cancels, ooh. So jump cancels are starting to make a little bit of a wave in the Japanese scene, using jump cancels to, you know, you get throw invincibility during your pre-jump frames. So people would use jump cancels to then cancel their jump on wake up to avoid a meaty throw, for example. And then they would be able to then input a move to cancel their jump. Very tight execution window to counterattack. Classic being jump cancel SPD. You would avoid the throw and then cancel right away into your SPD. and then you would SPD them in return when someone went for a meaty throw. But people were doing things like jump cancel, wake up OD blitz with Ed into level 2 for things like that, right? So, yeah, there was other utilities as well. We've made adjustments so that characters cannot avoid a normal throw by using techniques that cause the character to leave the ground, then follow up with a special move as a counterattack. With this iteration of Street Fighter, techniques that offer big returns against normal throws would be adjusted for balance by doing things like adding scaling. But the above-mentioned technique is very difficult to adjust for each and every move. For that reason, we've opted for this global change. This is one way we're reassessing defensive techniques, which is part of our overall plan to tune down certain aspects of the game. We feel that this is a necessary step to enable more aggressive offensive strategies. Why? Please note, however, that jump cancels can still be performed, so this will not affect how players take control of the characters. Also, this adjustment is only for normal throws. We believe that this technique didn't provide a huge advantage against command throws, so this change doesn't apply in those cases. What do they do? So first of all, this was complete fucking bait. So not only did they not nerf throw loops, they just made throws better. There'll be some adjustments being made that will impact all characters, such as changes to throws and jumps. What a bait, dude. What are they doing? So what do they do to the characters? Let's go. What do they do to make this a change? So the jump cancels can still be performed, but they won't be dodging throws. Let's see. Normal throw, universal adjustment. Extended the active frames of a normal throw when its attack hitbox comes into contact with the animation of a jump leaving the ground. This change does not apply to command throws. They extended the active frames of a normal throw when its attack hitbox comes into contact with the animation of a jump leaving the ground. Okay, so what they did here, your pre-jump frames are still throw invincible. They didn't change that. But if your throw interacts with a pre-jump frame, what it will do is you'll get extra active frames at the end of it, so that if they cancel then their pre-jump frames into a move that keeps them grounded, you will essentially have a meaty throw when they land, and you'll counter hit them out of the move. So that's kind of a clever solution to that, actually. That's kind of a clever solution. So they kept pre-jump throw invincibility, so you can jump out of throws. But yeah, if you cancel your attack from a pre-jump frame, there's going to be extra active frames there, and when you cancel your jump and your special move starts coming out, it just meaty grabs you before it's active. So that defeats the purpose of a jump cancel move. So jump cancel special moves that are used to dodge throws, gone. That's a very clever solution to something that has been a workaround to get around throws. Now, once again, this is another instance of the heavy hand of the developer trying to squash emergent gameplay quirks in the system, in the engine, that the developers above, the visionaries, did not plan for us. Us peons beneath them playing in their devices took a side door where we weren't supposed to. They said, nope, that wasn't an intended part of the risk-reward assessment of this situation. But it is a pretty clever solution. So I was literally just thinking about this concept today, too. While I was taking a shower, I was thinking about this, how the developers keep nerfing out things that the players always discover, like a game of whack-a-mole. Jump cancels have been a thing for decades at this point, and they finally squashed it. Is this only for special moves, i.e. the Juri jump medium punch? Well, jump medium punch is done in the air. It's in the name of what you just said. Jump medium punch, it's literally off the ground. It's in the air. Therefore, it is throw invincible, right? So this would be done when you use a jump cancel, that you're not doing jump cancel medium. You're jumping and then doing medium punch. Jump cancels, you don't even see the jump happen at all. You would just see, you would go for a meaty throw, and then the Zangief would somehow SPD you instead. So what that means is they did a jump cancel. There was like 1 or 2 frames where if you zoom in, you might see like a squat where he's about to jump and he's considered airborne, and then they canceled that right away to an SPD. Very hard to execute. Very tight window to execute a jump cancel special move on Wake Up. But they just didn't want you to get away from that. Perfect parry. Okay. If a multi-hit attack is perfect parried, it can no longer be canceled from the second attack and on. If a multi-hit attack is perfect parried, it can no longer be canceled from the second attack and on. So, is this only impacting situations where you're like, say it's Jamie standing heavy punch, and it's 3 hits, and you purposely perfect parry all 3 hits for I don't know what reason to style. Does that mean that it prevents you from like canceling out into like a super on one of the hits so that you're forced to take the punish? This seems more for style points. I'm struggling to think of a situation at the top of my head where this actually opens up brand new punishes that are required versus because on a perfect parry on most of these moves, you perfect parry the first hit and they can't cancel, correct? Perfect parry DI cannot be countered with super. Perfect parry DI cannot be countered with super. I'm trying to think of situations where that would actually. What is a common situation where that would actually happen? Like against Bison. What do you guys mean against Bison? What example? What example? Thanks for all the subs, by the way, guys. I really appreciate it. Sorry I'm kind of ignoring you. I'm just trying to focus on the patch notes at the moment, but I do see you guys. I'll probably group thank you guys later. Appreciate it, though. I'll probably group thank you. Go through everybody. What's up, Quickie? Perfect parry, EX Psycho Crusher. DI could super out of the Crusher. Really? Because you guys are mentioning the JP swipe example, and my memory's a little fuzzy. But if you perfect parry JP swipe and did DI, you still couldn't cancel into level 3 out of it. Am I misremembering? You couldn't cancel. On the heavy one, occasionally you could recover and then DI in return, which I think they also reduced that likelihood in later patches. If it was heavy swipe, you could. I thought they already got rid of that by adding recovery, where you couldn't counter after. But maybe I'm misremembering. I'm a little fuzzy on that detail. Yeah, I was struggling to remember scenarios. But yeah, but it sounds like from that example, if you guys are not pulling my leg here, that makes sense. But but for Psycho Crusher, for example, if you perfect parried the first hit, you can just jab them out of it and they can't counter. So it sounds like this is just allowing you to get larger guaranteed punishes with DI for sure on certain things. Because if you just perfect parried into jab, it's over. So, yeah. So I think that's allowing you to develop new punishes. Yeah, maybe you can perfect parry Jamie's 5 HP and then do DI now, for example. Because normally you'd have to just jab to interrupt the second hit. Because if you did DI, he could just counter DI after or whatever. So I think there will be a little bit of a development of increased punishes from this change. Collision push box behavior. Fix an issue where characters in the corner would move an unexpected distance when switching positions with an airborne opponent. Okay, we'll have to see examples to understand that. Super armor hitbox. Fix an issue that caused an attack hitting a non-super armored part to be absorbed if it landed during the hit stop of another attack being absorbed by super armor. That's gibberish to me. Cool. Overdrive arts. When performing an overdrive technique right after recovering from burnout, the visual effects from overdrive technique will now take priority over the burnout recovery visual effects. Oh, okay. Good to know. Now I see you guys. You're saying that the site is down. I will try to open in a new tab. Can I open in a new tab? They had to have known that people are thirsty. Like, people are thirsty so much for anything Street Fighter 6 related. Anything. Well, you know. Maybe not anything. Maybe anything's a stretch. Or wait a minute, are you guys ready for more stickers for Battle Hub?
Very nice.
Oh yeah, there you go. Look at these custom artworks of the main cast in Christmas themed costumes that will never actually appear in the game for the real characters. Oh, look at that. You can make your person spin around and wiggle their foot. Perfect. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's kind of a good touch that they added the snare pop at the same time. Uh-huh. Never mind. With that clever editing, it was all worth it. Capcom, you've done it again. Take my money. Defeatly here has Jamie changes. Jamie will now regain some drive meter whenever he performs a technique that increases his drink level even when he's not at drink level 4. That's actually kind of buff. That's actually kind of buff. This will make it... That's actually really buff. Man. Are they going to make this character good? This will make it easier for him to fight at the beginning of a round while also letting him manage his drive gauge. We felt that instead of the drawback of stopping your offense to raise Jamie's drink level, we wanted to allow him to express his strengths and make it easier for players to experience that. Another improvement Jamie receives is that the second hit of his jump heavy kick will now knock down even on normal hit, giving you a guaranteed return when chasing down an opponent. Oh, so air-to-air juggles. Drive gauge increase even when under drink level 4. The amount of drive gauge replenished depends on the technique. I don't know what they mean by that. Critical art cutscene extended the input buffer when the time is stopped. Yeah, maybe... I just wish they listed the techniques, because you can do drink canceled from like a throw, you can do drink canceled from a Rekka, and you can do raw drink. So I'm assuming there's something that's a few of those. I'm probably missing some. Also, his level 1 ender, his sweep, his target combo. I guess there's a lot of them. I just kind of wish they listed that. Like, how much is it? Why did they just give us a range here? Anyways, standing heavy kick, reduce the hurt box in front of legs during the attack startup. That's kind of a buff. That's a better punish counter for him to fish with, and it's hit confirmable. Crouch heavy kick, reduce the pushback on block when only the second attack is blocked. Okay, so it's only when the second attack is blocked, because sometimes you can even space it, I think, with the first attack block, and it's still safe for some characters. Jump heavy kick, change to a blowback knockdown on a normal hit on mid-air opponent. Yeah, so he's going to have an actual air-to-air to juggle with. Ransui Haze, fastest transition, heavy kick, towards heavy kick to heavy punch. Increase the distance move forward before the attack startup, so they buffed his towards heavy kick, the toe kick. Overdrive, free flow strikes, that's his Rekka. His OD Rekka. Increase the blowback time when the first attack at drink level 4 hits a mid-air opponent. This adjustment was made to mitigate instances where the Super Art 3 critical art cancel window would not combo. Okay. Medium Bakai, his breakdance kick, expanded the hitbox on the fourth attack that only appears during a combo upwards. This adjustment was made to mitigate the instances where the attack would miss during a mid-air hit. And level 3, expanded the hitbox on the first attack that only appears during a combo. Okay. So the big thing there is for sure the changes to drive gauge for the drink. That is the big change there. Okay, and you guys mentioned other characters. We've toned down M. Bison's ability to do high damage combos and to chip away at an opponent's drive gauge. His overall game plan hasn't changed greatly, but we've looked to adjust him so that he doesn't use his high-powered offense to bully his way in. Uh-oh. Did they kneecap M. Bison's knee press? Overdrive double knee press, Overdrive Psycho Crusher, and Psycho Mine. We've revamped the damage and scaling on these. Thank you. Whether or not his Psycho Mine is embedded to put a cap on his high combo damage. Additionally, taking into account that Bison can continue his offensive when Psycho Crusher is blocked while Psycho Mine is embedded, we reduce the amount of drive gauge the opponent loses. Smart. Evil Knee, back heavy kick. The one that is +1, right? We reduce the amount of drive gauge the opponent loses when they block this attack. This allows Bison to move forward while keeping him at an advantage, giving Bison players a lot of chances to use it. When blocked, it took a lot of drive away from the opponent, and when it hit, they took a lot of damage. This interaction gave Bison too much of an advantage. Facts. So we decided to adjust the reel in. We decided to adjust the reel in the drive gauge advantages. Man, I'm too tired for Capcom to have this this lack of editing. I'm too tired for them. I can't tell if it's me or the writing. So we decided to adjust the reel in so we decided to reel in the drive gauge advantages. I think is what they meant to say. Anyways, Shadow Eyes, Devil's Reverse. This technique's ability to change its attack timing and trajectory made it difficult to deal with, and even if the opponent tried to hit Bison out of the air, there were too many situations where Bison could avoid the attack and counter. To counter this, we've expanded the overall hurtbox on the technique and shrunk the attack hitbox, so it loses more often to an opponent's aerial ground attacks. Additionally, when a Psycho Mine is embedded and Bison performed Devil's Reverse, it was more difficult to keep on the offensive compared to the non-mine version. So we've adjusted his recovery so that after landing, he doesn't have to lose out on a chance for an offensive push, even if he has to dash in for it. Okay, so they buffed his Psycho Mine with Devil's Reverse so that he can get in. So they gave him some consolation prizes here. Crouch Heavy Kick, disadvantage on block changed from -11 to -12. Bison's sweep was actually low-key one of the best in the game. So much pushback, or rather range on it. The pushback was not that crazy. I think it just had really surprising range. So make it easier to punish is good. Jump Light Kick, updated cross-up attack hitbox and extended it backwards to match the hitbox length of Jumping Medium Kick. Huh. They buffed his cross-up? Evil Knee, changed drive gauge reduction on block from 5,000 to 3,000. Big. Psycho Crusher, changed drive gauge increase on the medium version from 2,500 to 3,500. And on the heavy from 3,000 to 5,000. So they buffed the drive gauge gain when hitting. Okay. Overdrive Psycho Crusher, changed damage when Psycho Mine is embedded from 2,000 to 1,600. Good. Change drive gauge reduction on block from 10,000 to 5,000. That thing did 10,000 drive chip damage. They halved the amount of drive gauge damage it did. So OD knee press combo scaling from 10% to 20. Oh, that's a big one. So the OD scissor kicks was really, really strong because with a lot of the better characters' routings in the DLC, you really see it, especially with, I guess, Ed as well. Ed to a degree, and then especially Akuma and Bison. Their routing used OD moves in a lot of optimal conversion situations. So instead of doing drive rush cancels, like medium heavy drive rush cancel, you would do OD knee press. And that was really strong because when you do a drive rush cancel, for one, it uses 3 bars of drive meter instead of 2. But also, the drive gauge regen would be locked out until the combo completes when you do a drive rush cancel. When you just do an OD move in the combo, however, you don't get that drive gauge lockout penalty. So, literally, if you did a conversion with OD knee press with M. Bison instead of a drive rush cancel, you would be already rebuilding the 2 bars you spent by the time the combo finished. So, not only did the combo tool of OD scissor kicks allow for really big damaging combos, it was extremely meter efficient, and you would just start building back your meter during the combo. So they tacking some scaling onto that makes sense. Shadow Rise, the flying up move, added a hurt box around the feet during the jump. This new hurt box is invincible to projectiles. Okay, so they made it easier to smack him out of it on the way up. Devil's Reverse, fixed an issue with the mine with that detonate. Okay. Reduce the downward attack hitbox. So it made it not as effective hitting downwards. From the 9th frame of the technique until Bison lands, the hurt box around the body is expanded sideways During the attack's active frames, the hurt box around his arms is expanded downwards and sideways. Okay, so they're just making it easier to deal with and hit him out of it. When Psycho Mine is embedded, the recovery on the final attack on block changed from 23 to 27 frames. Yeah, so they buffed it on block. Didn't someone tell me they said on hit? The recovery on the final attack on block. So they're making it easier for him to get in if he... It could be harder for him to get in using this move because it's going to be easier to anti-air. But if he's able to force you to block the Devil's Reverse while the mine is popped, he gets more advantage to get back in. Fair trade-off, in my opinion. When a Psycho Mine is embedded, landing recovery changed from 9 to 8 frames. When Psycho Mine is embedded, landing... So also, when it's on hit... Okay, so it's both. When he has it embedded, he also lands faster. So they added more recovery and he lands faster. Right, so he gets more advantage. Lands on hit. All right, we got Cammy here. Thanks for providing the links, guys. Appreciate it. All right, we're looking at Cammy now. For Cammy, we've looked at the attacks that start off her combos or offensive flow. By the way, before we get into this, Cammy is the most represented character in Capcom Cup currently. I don't know if you guys are aware of this.
Oh, well, if you can't beat them, join them!
We can look at Cat Cammy for the stats on Cammy. So, for some reason, everyone always asks about, like, Cammy is, oh, she's a good character, but has no results. It's only punk. That has been thoroughly debunked as of this season. Oh, now Twitter doesn't even want to load. Bro, the internet just is whack. 8 Cammys qualified for Capcom Cup currently. Now, to be fair, Cat Cammy in this ranking includes secondaries, which is... I don't think that's a great metric to include, to be honest, because I think that's very misleading. 4 solo mains with Cammy. Or 4 mains with Cammy. They might have secondaries as well, but... So I would put her more around Ed, below Ken, tied with Ed. Because to me, I think that's a more significant metric, is who mains it. So, yeah, but lots of Cammy in Capcom Cup currently. For Cammy, we've looked at the attacks that start off her combos or offensive flow, as well as her offensive overdrive attacks. We looked at making adjustments to reduce situations where even if you're at a disadvantage, you can switch sides with your opponent with the correct reads. Crouch Medium Punch, one of the best bufferable moves in the game. This attack has fantastic range and startup, but adds lower risk to Cammy compared to other characters with similar moves, so we've increased its recovery and hurt box. Ooh, both the recovery and hurt box. Cammy players will legit sit there and spam that move. They would just sit there and spam Crouching Medium Punch. So that's huge. This attack will no longer switch sides on hit. Overdrive Cannon Spike. Wait, what? Overdrive Cannon Spike will no longer switch sides on hit. That is huge. Wow. Now, having an OD reversal is already very privileged to have in this game. But something to understand about Cammy's is that with hers, not only did she spend 2 bars to have an invincible move to alleviate pressure and do damage, she also was able to swap sides and instantly regain the corner. Now, for a lot of characters, they do get somewhat decent Oki off their OD DP, but they're still in that side of the screen. They can't side swap, and if they don't play the next interaction correctly, they can end up back in the corner. So she was very privileged in that sense. So that's big. The heavy version featured the same properties as the overdrive version when you held down the button, but compared to the heavy held version, which is only used in limited situations, the quick startup on the overdrive cannon spike meant that its value as a side switch tool was too high. Additionally, side switching with an invincible overdrive attack made the fight less enjoyable for the opponent, and also had the additional disadvantage of being difficult to use for Cammy when she's chasing down the opponent, hence the change. Oh, see, they're trying to like, hey, Cammy players, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Like, you can keep the corner. Listen, if people are trying to get a little scrappy with you, and you got them cornered, they're trying to fight out, just ODDP them. Keep them in that corner. You got this. You got this. Yeah. Just do jab, jab, and wait ODDP on your offense. Overdrive Cannon Strike. 2 kicks during 4. This is the, jump OD dive kick. We've updated the disadvantage. We've updated the advantage on this when it's performed once Cammy reaches a certain height and the attack lands on the first active frame. On hit, the situation is now 50-50. You're not guaranteed a follow-up attack unless Cannon Strike hits for a punish counter. If you use its attack to avoid an opponent's regular throw, you can still follow up with an attack, but lift uppercut, back medium punch, no longer hits for a combo, making it more difficult to land this attack's side switch combo. Additionally, recovery on block has also changed, so Cammy is less likely to get hit by a guaranteed counter attack. So, is all that to say they reduce the advantage on hit, but improve the advantage on block? Don't tell me you made that safer on block or less disadvantage on block. Crouch medium punch. Change recovery from 14 to 17 frames. We still ain't whiff punishing that. But that makes it a little less likely for a Cammy player to spam it. Expand the hurt box forward from frames 10 through 26 only when the attack misses. Oh, maybe, actually. Depending on how much they expanded that hurt box, maybe. This might actually be whiff punishable now. Crouch heavy kick, reduce pushback on block. She did have a pretty good sweep, huh? So, overdrive cannon spike, the DP. Active frames in close range, hitbox reduced by 1 frame. Okay, so it doesn't swap sides. Cannon strike. Regular cannon strike. Change drive gauge increase from 1,000 to 2,500. They buff the drive gauge on her dive kick. Okay, OD cannon strike. When performing the attack during a jump's ascent, recovery has changed to the following only when the attack hits on the first active frame. So basically, if you jump and do it right away, that's what they're referring to here. On hit, 0 tilde plus 2 frames to 0 advantage. Okay, they're saying it's on hit 0. It went from plus 2 frames to 0 frame advantage on hit. And on block, it went from -4 to -2? Why would you make that safer? You don't have to give her these consolation prizes here. Why? Why? Okay, I mean, their thought here is on hit, there's no reward. Well, you're in a 0 situation, but that doesn't even make sense to me because it's going to be a punish counter, so it's going to be +4. This is better. This is almost better. You're not going to get the side swap combo because normally you'd be +6 on punish counter on throw, right? +2, +4. So now it's going to be +4 on hit on punish counter if they read your throw and wake up, and they're going to get a jab conversion to a knockdown. But it's safer. It's like never going to be... I mean, not that anyone was often punishing it on that first active frame. That was very rare. You would very rarely see people walk up point blank, stand block, get hit by or block the first active frame and punish. So to be honest, people were not punishing that often. But yeah. If the attack hits on the second frame or later, or if it's performed during the later half of the jump, the frame difference will be the same as before. They barely touched this, to be honest. They only modified the situation, done immediately and hitting immediately. Razor's Edge Slicer. Is this her axe kick? Expanded the hurt box and the body upward. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. That's a little disappointing, to be honest. But they nerfed her side swap DP, so I think her OD dive kick, I would argue overall it's nerfed because she can't side swap as easily. So essentially they removed her side swap utility. So overall it's nerfed. I would argue. I still think she'll be good. Okay, side is up. Luke. Okay, we primarily looked at giving Luke some lesser used moves, more purpose, and reassessing his perfect input combos. Double impact, while this attack can be hit confirmed and can't be countered when blocked, It has comparable range to standing heavy punch, which is also a quick attack, meaning it doesn't get much love in a fight. Towards heavy punch? For this reason, we looked at increasing its forward moving distance so there's a clear range difference, making it a good option against opponents who are further away. People use that move a lot. I'm kind of confused. Overdrive, Sandblast. We reassessed this technique as it didn't give that much of a return compared to other overdrive projectiles. For overdrive Sandblast, we remove the hurt box that appears before the attack startup. Removing this hurt box makes it more reliable as a zoning tool. Additionally, Fatal Shot had limited application, so we changed its behavior on hit to provide more of a payoff to the player. They got rid of the hurt box for his OD Fireball? The laser? So you don't get hit by Fireball coming in? I guess there could be situations where you try to counter a Fireball and then your hitbox would interact with the Fireball too early when you try to cancel it out. So I guess it makes it better for nullifying a regular projectile. I don't know. And other OD projectiles. Whatever, it sounds like it improves his counter Fireball game. A medium Flash Knuckle, we re-examined this attack as Luke's perfect input combos lost some of their appeal due to combo scaling on his primary tools and because you can combo into both perfect input and charge version from Stand Heavy Punch. Now, depending on your combo opener, you can deal just as much damage as before. They gave his damage back. Stand Heavy Punch, expanded the collision push box. Stand Heavy Kick, drive gauge increase, 3,000 to 4,000. Towards Heavy Punch, increase the distance move forward before the attack startup. Expanded the standby block box, reduce pushback on hit. Crouch medium kick down heavy punch, change advantage on hit from +1 to +2. That's good. They didn't mention that. His hit confirmable target combo. Wow, they gave Luke a lot of buffs. Hurt box and upper body now expands forward to 19th frame instead of 14th for his overdrive projectile. Wait, what? Fatal Shot. The extension of OD Sandblast. Behavior on hit has changed so that it now produces a wall splat. Wait. So they're reducing their hurt box on the OD Fireball so that it's easier to use as a counter projectile in a Fireball battle. And then when you see the counter, and that can counter other OD projectiles as well, it's a 2-hit OD projectile, then you can do the follow-up with Fatal Shot, wall splat them, and then do the Dry Rush towards Heavy Punch because they extended the range. Double impact. I don't know about it. They're really like, oh, we went too far with Luke. They're making shit up to buff with him. They're just making shit up at this point. They're like, we got to give him something. He's still on the cover. He's still on the cover. Light Flash Knuckle. Add an additional attack hitbox on the second attack when that can only be hit during a combo. Fixed an issue if second attack would miss. Okay, sure. Medium Flash Knuckle. Recovery on block changed from -10 to -8. Reduce hurt box during recovery. Reduced pushback on hit. Extended the input buffer time when the technique ends. Why would you make this safer on block? This is just leading into more of the same situation. Like you nerfed the situations with sweeps on block. Why would you make this? He already has the ability to bulldog you with his charged knuckle already in Burnout. Does this make it a mind game? Like, if he's going to do random non-charged medium Flash Knuckle or charged when you're in Burnout? This is very strange. This is just adding awkward punishes. I'm just not a fan of making things difficult to punish. I generally don't enjoy that. Flash Knuckle perfect. Second attack no longer has combo scaling added to it when it lands. And they gave some. I don't know how much damage this is actually going to be in practice, but they're returning his damage from some of his common combo routes. Super Art 2 Eraser, increase the distance move forward when the attack hits. Yeah, that's nothing. Okay, well, they made Luke better for sure. Yeah, this could be a big change actually. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much damage this is actually going to change in practice. How is this a minor patch? I think they actually learned. This is way more than I expected. This seems like a bigger patch almost in season 2. And I expected way less. And I think they maybe learned based on how the previous patches were received, because they had said in the past that patches are coming. They released patches and there was nothing in it, basically. So it seems like maybe they understood to maybe temper expectations this time. Because, yeah, they said this won't be a major update like the Akuma one, but all characters will receive changes. This seems like a major update. Relative to the patches in between the Akuma one and this one, this actually seems bigger in some ways. Major update means season change. I know, but still, this is actually using the word major to mean significant. It's a significant change. This is way more than I expected. This really made me think it would be one change per character or like one universal change. Like a system mechanic change. For Manon, we took a look at how much super art and drive gauge she gains from her attacks, as well as doing some minute tuning. Now, manage d'oeil, I don't know French. Her command grab and her spin attack, the hit grab, will gain more super art gauge according to her metal level. She also gains more drive gauge for a mid-range attack, heavy something or another. Of course, circle back heavy kick, which I believe is her overhead. And her target combo, medium punch, medium kick, which pulls you in, will allow her to gain more resources easily. So they buffed super art and drive gauge build. This kick has been adjusted to hero situations for medium to gauge would not reach. Okay, combo consistency. Stand heavy kick. Change recovery on hit from -2 to +1. Recovery on punish counter has not been changed. Huh, that's weird. So they gave her more frame advantage on regular hit, but not punish counter. That's unique. So usually this move is used at a distance as a footsie tool. Big ballerina kick. So I wonder if there'll be shenanigans where Manon will be in range using that and just go straight for command grab after on hit. It doesn't seem that big because usually this is used too spaced out to take real advantage of that frame advantage. But it's something for sure. Buff on the medium punch, medium kick target combo, 1,000 to 2,500 drive gauge gain. That's pretty beefy. Super art gauge now changes depending on metal level. So this is for command grab. Level 1 to 2 is the same. 3 to 4, a buff of 1,000. Level 5, 5,000. That's pretty good. And similar pattern for the hit grab. Okay, so they're leaning more into her metal system to buff her even more. She's building more resources, which means that if she keeps this, I kind of like this just for it working in tandem with her buff on the super. So her level 3 is also scaled with the metals now. So I kind of like that it works together with that. You know, she builds the metals, lets her build more super meter, lets her get to level 3, lets her do the enhanced level 3 faster. I kind of like it just from a game design perspective. I'm going to be more stressed fighting Manon, but it kind of seems good. It works together in a cohesive way, it seems. Drive gauge increase on the overhead. The feint, recovery and feint for all versions of the attack reduced by 2 frames. When do you really even use the feint? To go through fireballs? Low back distance on hit reduced. Okay. Minor buffs for Manon. Kimberly. Kimberly is a character that is supposed to specialize in offense, but she only has a few reliable moves to help her out in neutral, which makes it difficult for her to create opportunities for herself. She has dry rush and an elbow drop. What more do you need? Due to this, we've made adjustments to help her out. Water Slicer, down forward medium kick, or slide. This attack was designed to nip at the opponent's feet, but even when it landed, it often left Kimberly in disadvantageous situations, making it difficult to incorporate into anyone's game plan. You haven't seen the Kimberlys I fought online. To help this attack, we've made her recovery during active frames 1 through 4 fixed, so that as long as it hits Kimberly, will be at an advantage. Really? On the first 4 active frames, she's going to be at advantage? Dude, usually these types of moves are always designed this way. They're always designed to be negative on hit. If you use a slide and you use it point blank, you're generally... Sometimes you're punishable, which might be too far, but generally you're at disadvantage because it's not intended to be used at that range. I don't know. I don't like that. I think, to me, that's kind of like enabling people's bad spacing. I don't like that change. Towards heavy kick, what is that? Her overhead? This technique was slow and didn't have great hitbox. Which one is her forward heavy kick? Make it easy to deal with, so we improved its hitbox and made it more usable in a fight. In addition to its better reach, it will also lose less to low profile. Oh, that's the big step kick, the big hop. Okay. It'll also lose less to low profile attacks like crouch medium punch. Finally, Kimberly will now gain a lot of drive from this attack, giving her an effective tool to replenish drive gauge. Now, stand heavy punch. This attack was designed to give a big payoff if you landed a good hit on the opponent, but we've adjusted its range to make it easier to use as the starting point of Kimberly's offense. It's now something you can realistically use to force your opponent to block, and combined with the adjustments to arc step, Kimberly now has some great attacks to launch from. Okay. Normal overdrive arc step automatically activates after getting close with sprint. The startup for this technique is now faster, and it can be used in more combos that are difficult to shut down with normal attacks. So that's the run step where she runs off you. Okay, so they gave her new combos to combo into that. Crouch light punch, change recovery on block from -2 to -1. Ah, that's so annoying, dude. I feel like with her jab, it's already plus. I swear to God, I mash my jab after blocking her jab, and I still eat a tick throw every time. That's actually crazy. Yeah, she's already the best character in the game at stealing the turns from jab pressure, in my opinion. Crouching light kick, change recovery on hit from +2 to +4 frames. So she gets combos from her low, linked. I don't know when you would actually use that, but does that mean you can fish score with counter hits and not have to chain cancel, do crouch and light kick, link to crouch jab, and if it counter hits, do something else? I'm not sure what the implication here would be. Stand heavy punch. The distance move forward before the attack startup. Reduce the attack hitbox on the edge of the attack.
Oh, well, if you can't beat them, join them!
Okay. So it moves forward now. Stand heavy kick. Adjust the standby block hitbox. Okay, let's go to the slide. So adjusted so that if it hits between active frames 1 through 4, the advantage on hit will always be +1, and on block will always be -5. Got to make this -13. Change so that the attack now results in a knockdown if it hits as a punish counter between active frames 1 through 4. They want you to just spam this slide up close. What do they want you to do?
Oh, well, if you can't beat
Seems like they want you to use this as a consistent whiff punish tool. Like, just like do a few buttons up close and then just do it. Like a spacing trap tool. So that you're baiting out whiffs and just doing the slide. Seems strange. Still punishable, though, if you block it. But you're going to be really conscious of walking away if you're outside of her crouch medium kick range already. Yeah. Probably not going to be that good, but it sounds a little annoying. Elbow drop technique will now be performed at a certain elevation when the input is performed early. Okay, they just made it easier to input. Arc step sped up from 8 to 6 frames. Starting to lose me here. Light vagabond edge. Change recovery on block from -5 to -4. They're really doubling down on the weird elbow buff. I'm not sure if they buffed the light one or like the medium or heavy one from the previous patch. So I'm not sure if they buffed this again, but they were trying to like give her a spaced out tool where you could use the elbow in neutral and space it out so that it's safe on block. So they made this, they buffed it again. This might actually be good. -4 on block and space, that's going to be hard to punish. I'm already imagining Ed, he can't punish this because -4, his jabs have no range. -5 you can punish. So pushback on hit reduced. Yeah, this sounds annoying. Well, I don't know. Kimberly's an annoying character, and they sound like they gave her just more tools to make her annoying. More annoying. Very good for burnout. Yeah, that's true. It's going to be 0 on block. Just do it. Get in. Marisa. Bulk's Crusher towards Heavy Kick. Required charge time with this deck has a change. Increase forward distance of the charge attack. Crouch Heavy Punch. Spin at the hitbox in the charge version. Okay. People complain about her Crouch Heavy Punch a lot. But the charge version is very rare to use. The throw hurt box before the attack no longer expands forward, making this a good strike option when trying to bait a throw escape from the opponent. Interesting. So, like, use it spaced out so that if they tech throw, you punish counter. If they try to jump forward, it preemptively hits them out of the air. We can increase the float on punish counter to increase its payoff.
Bitch, I live in a fucking trash can.
Phalanx. We've made this attack easier to use by mitigating the risk when it's avoided. By expanding the attack hitbox and increasing the active frames on the attack, it should increase its range, make it more difficult to be hit out of. Don't buff the Superman punch. How would you buff Superman punch? Standing heavy punch. Attack hitbox expanded forward? That move already went half screen. They buffed the heavy punch even more. Attack hitbox on active frame 1 expanded downward so that it matches the same position as on active frame 2. Okay. Yeah, the buff to the crouch heavy punch for charge, getting punish counters. Okay, so new combos and new utility for charge, crouch, heavy punch. Seems like they want you to use it for shimmy coverage and also backdash forward, jump out of the corner coverage to escape a throw. Crouch heavy kick, expanded the attack hitbox that only appears in combo. Nothing here really. Heavy punch, increase the combo count, upper limit. Oh, I like that they add a glossary here. Was this always here? Gladius. Expanded the follow-up attack hitbox upwards when hitting mid-air opponent. Okay, whatever. Phalanx. Okay, change active frames from 3 to 6. Extended the mid-air hitbox after the attack by 1 frame. Extended the mid-air hitbox. Okay. Expanded the attack hitbox forward. Changed drive gauge increase on the normal version from 2,000 to 3,000. Wow. That move is still annoying for me to deal with. I just try to get lucky with a perfect parry. Okay. They made her... She's the same. Just slightly better properties on some of her moves. Still the same overall. Main focus of Lily's updates was to expand on her combo routes. Crouch and light punch, just the range. Okay. Forward heavy punch, heavy punch, heavy punch. Made it easier to use in mid-air combos. You can now choose to deal damage while building your win stock, or you can forget about the win stock and forego the follow-up inputs to plot out your wake-up game. Huh. By having only the second hit of the attack hit a standing opponent in the middle of the stage, you can follow up with Crouch Heavy Kick or Super Art 1. While in the corner, you can go for another Tomahawk, Buster, etc. You'll need to confirm the situation first, but even if you have limited win stock, you can still extend your combos. Normal Windclad Tomahawk Buster. Is that her Spire? By having only the second hit of the attack hit a standing opponent in the middle of the stage, you can follow up with Crouch Heavy. You get juggles from this? That's DP? Okay, I was wondering, because it said juggles after. So you can juggle from her DP? In combos? You're going to combo into the DP, which normally causes a knockdown, and then you can follow up with a Crouch Heavy Kick or Super? Interesting. So they buffed her crouching light punch. So increase the blowback of the second attack when it hits grounded. Huh. I'd have to see the actual combo example. It's hard to visualize. Okay. Minor adjustments for Lily. I think she might be the same. JP. We've only made adjustments to his basic abilities, so his changes this time center around his super arts. Level 2, we've adjusted this technique so that projectiles will remain when a normal throw hits for punish counter. This means activating it in close quarters will allow JP to apply it. Wow, wait a minute. We've adjusted this technique so that the projectiles will remain when a normal throw hits for a punish counter. So if you hold parry and JP throws you, are they saying you're going to get a combo from the throw now? Super Art 3, we've updated this technique so that when Triglav hits an opponent high in the air, it's easier to combo to Super Art. Which one is Triglav? I always forget. Is that the spike? Make it less likely to fall, I guess. Buff drive gauge on sand. Medium punch, the long cane poke. Overdrive Torbalon, that's his OD fireball. Extinction with the projectile's attack motions and the number of times it hits the opponent would not match. Clashing? Okay, whatever. Level 2. Projectiles will now continue to remain on the screen if they are on the screen when a normal throw hits for punish counter. Huh. Yeah, I think that might result in combos from the throw. It sounds like the big change is potentially if you hold parry to just say, fuck it, JP, just I'll eat my punish counter throw and be happy. It sounds like he's going to get combos from that. So that's actually a really big buff. That's actually a really big buff. I think JP's in a good spot. They kind of over-nerfed him with the anti-air nerf on top of all the other damage and combo utility nerfs. Then they gave him a lot of that back plus the anti-air. And then they give him this. I think JP's kind of strong again. The thing I have to double check is like his options with level 2. He had a lot less advantage to combo and force unblockables with his level 2, which made parry very strong against it again. But it sounds like this is also making up for that, because before it was very easy for him to set up airtight block strings and then do pseudo unblockables on you that had no gaps for you to parry out of. So now, if you're like, oh, whatever, you can't do it unblockable, I just hold parry. Now you get a punish counter throw and get a combo. Kind of nasty. Juri. We made adjustments to Juri so that in specific situations she'll have more combo routes, and some of her heavy attacks will give her back more drive meter. Crouch heavy punch. The hit effect when this attack lands for a punish counter on a mid-air opponent has changed. It is primarily a counterattack against invincible attacks, but we wanted to give it different merits, so you can now dish out damage and gain up to 2 Fuha stocks while closing the distance, or go for a combo when scoring a punish counter on a standing opponent for varied results. Huh. Heavy Fuhajin. We made this attack easier to combo into from Crouch Heavy Punch when attacks hits mid-air opponent. So it sounds like you're getting like mid-air, anti-air juggle combos with Crouch Heavy Punch. Drive gauge increase on Stand Heavy Kick. Change the hit effect for Crouching Heavy Punch on punish counter to Spinning Knockdown. Yeah, so now if you anti-air, you could probably do Crouch Heavy Punch into Store. And if it's a regular anti-air, you build a Store, and then you're good to go. But if they actually get punish countered, you can probably do a Store and then actually convert that to a combo. So, more incentive to use Crouch Heavy Punch as an anti-air. For DJ, we looked at the revamping of the anti-air abilities of medium and heavy Jackknife Maximum. Don't give them those back. Those were that had too much horizontal range. So, as well as readjusting Waning Moon's follow-up abilities. Previously, we adjusted the range of the first attack of Jackknife Maximum to reduce the guaranteed counter ticks on the ground, but as an anti-air attack, it became less reliable than expected. To improve that aspect, we've extended the active frames of the attack and expanded the hitbox. The attack hitbox that only applies to mid-air opponents. Against jumps, if you perform the attack a little early, you'll now see less cases of the first attack missing. In the last balance adjustment, we added the option to follow up with the attack depending on the situation, but the options DJ had in terms of move selection and range were too strict, so we looked at relaxing those conditions. When landing the normal version as a punish counter, attacks like Heavy Jackknife Maximum are easier to land. And then for the overdrive versions on hit, Quick Rolling Soulbot and Double Rolling Soulbot will now connect. Funky Dance Feint, Medium Punch, Heavy Punch. Made it more difficult for opponents to respond by making it easier for DJ to snap back with feint techniques. Invincible overdrive attacks are no longer guaranteed hits. So harder for normal attacks to interrupt this attack. Okay, so the medium punch, target combo, you would end on, it's negative, but safe on block, you would end on forward heavy punch, which is punishable as a sort of delayed counter to interrupt them for going for the turn taking. Change overall frames this technique from 23 to 22. How do they make it easier for DJ to snap back with feint techniques though? I'm not following right there. Knee shot, down light kick during a forward jump. Drive gauge increase from 500 to 2,000. 500, 4 times as much drive gauge for doing bazooka knee? Say what now? What? Yeah, they quadrupled the drive gauge build for the easiest move to land in the game. Medium jackknife maximum. So the up kicks, medium. First action frames from 3 to 4. On the heavy one, they expanded the attack hitbox so that it can only hit a mid-air opponent upward. Alright. Okay. Minor changes, to be quite honest. Capcom Cup qualified Ryu. In order for Ryu to further differentiate himself from other similar characters, we've looked at improving his stability and his unique mid-range attacks. Whirlwind kick towards heavy kick. While this attack has fantastic range and is great for controlling space, after it hit, it was difficult for Ryu to create any opportunities for himself. So it can now be canceled into a regular aerial Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku. So normally it would only be OD. I can't even imagine what that looks like. I had to get the full government on that one. When you land this combo, you'll be also to position. When you land this combo, you'll be also to position yourself in a favorable spot. Or alternatively, you can use it as a combo from an overdrive high blade Kickstarter. What the fuck is a high blade Kickstarter? It's donkey kick. So you can combo OD donkey kick and then do towards heavy kick to regular Tatsu. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Heavy donkey kick. This attack has some issues when used to control space due to its slow startup and disadvantage on block. So we sped up the startup of the attack and reduced the overall frame count to help players use it in different situations. That move's kind of good. I guess it's fairly reactable with DI, though, as it was before. Crouching MK. We sped up the cancel timing into special moves, making it easier to combo from. Even when hitting the tip of the attack, you can safely string into a heavy Hadoken to force your opponent into a block string. And for light and medium Hadokens, as long as you don't delay the cancel, an opponent's drive impact is no longer guaranteed to land, giving Ryu more stability over Ken and Akuma. This is fucking huge. This is huge. I already made the joke before in the past about, the towards heavy kick into OD Tatsu, making, Ryu like Evil Ryu. But this is Evil Ryu Street Fighter 4 in my mind. So, any string into a fireball, usually there's risk because, people could do things like perfect parry, drive rush, option select, and just fish forward. If they happen to land the perfect parry, they get the drive rush to come out. And if they don't land the perfect parry, they just regular parry, no risk to the defender, and they could punish that. And also, like they mentioned before, they could commit to the DI as a read that after when they see crushing medium kick, you're going to cancel it. You don't react to the cancel, you just commit to it. But now that these are all, one, either a true block string, or two, safe to DI, this also means potentially they can mix in other things like low forward into donkey kick. I don't know if that's actually going to be utilized, but that already makes me think that because there's no guaranteed DI from any cancels from crouching medium kick, you could potentially cancel into other things that would be not safe to DI because people are going to be scared to start DIing. Because imagine you try to DI from low forward on the medium and heavy Hadokens, they counter DI every time. They can start using that to then go for big drive gauge damage or Hashogeki mix-ups, right? Like low forward Hashogeki, bait out your parry. So basically, already right now, there's a fairly strong mix-up from fireball situations where you do Hashogeki, light Hasho, and you bait out their parry, and then you drive rush up and throw them for a guaranteed punish counter throw, or walk up, depending on the range. This is also strongly enhancing that. This is strongly enhancing that, in my opinion. Just in general, because like you could counter that by doing DI. If they did low forward into Hasho, you could DI some of those. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Guaranteed chip damage on the drive gauge as well if they block crouching medium kick. And then meterless conversions from forward heavy kick. Axe kick towards heavy kick. Drive gauge increase from 1,500 to 3,500. And he can cancel into the Tatsu. So this is now is a meter building tool as well. Oh no. That's sorry. That's sorry. That's the back heavy kick. My apologies. So the 2-hit back heavy kick. Okay, they just buffed his drive gauge on his back heavy kick. Never mind. Towards heavy kick. Aerial Tatsumaki. Interesting. Boosted overdrive Hadoken. 2 punches. So you can juggle more with it. Heavy donkey kick. Start up from 29 to 27 frames. Recovery on block from -5 to -3, brother. And then buff drive gauge damage. This is going to be degenerate, dude. And then they buff the overdrive Hashogeki damage. Solid. Solid buffs for Ryu. Not enough to, I think, to skyrocket him in the tier list, but this is a very significant buff in my opinion. Very significant buff for Ryu. I think this buff actually matters, this crouching medium kick buff. And the whirlwind kick buff is nice too. Wow. E Honda, deleted from the game. Everybody clapped. Yes, yay. E Honda. We've looked to improve Honda's Teppo triple slap to allow him to bring the fight into close quarters, and we've also looked at improving his damage and mix-up situations with the strike throws. Stand heavy punch. This attack can now combo into regular Taiho cannon, giving Honda some chonky damage on his strikes. Who wrote this? Who wrote this where they can put in some millennial internet humor and say chonky, but we still have some real Google Translate English all over the place? Who wrote this? At first I thought this was all Google Translate, considering some of the mishaps I'm stumbling across here. Then you drop a chonky on me. Heckin' chonker Honda. Oh shit! The giant hand slaps from Creepy Sleepy. We've decided to change Honda's name to Pig Chungus. All right. Teppo triple slap. Quarter circle forward kick punch. So that's out of his stance. Due to improvements on the hitbox, his attack can now reach opponents better from mid-range, and we made some changes so that he's in a better position than before when it's blocked. His Ochio throw. The startup of this throw is faster, giving his throw game more oomph. Oomph! Chonky? Along with the adjustments to its overdrive Teppo triple slap, Honda can now force his opponents into a mix-up game, or he can use this as a counterattack to a drive reversal. So they made it negative. They made it 6 frames. What was it before? Yeah, 7 to 6 frames. That's a big punish. That's a big punish for him then. On drive reversal. I don't think his drive reversal damage was that good normally. Stand heavy punch. Change recovery on hit from -1 to +1. Okay, they made the triple slaps easier to approach with. Increased pushback on block for the first and second attack. So they gave him this triple slap to let him harass with something mid-screen, it looks like. Change recovery on block on on overdrive. They increased the advantage on block on the second attack from +2 to +3. And now he has a 6-frame command grab, which means your lights are getting counter hit. So he can get in now with OD triple slaps and actually command grab you and beat your lights. Wow. Okay. That's going to be annoying. That's a fairly significant buff for Honda. Makes him a lot more solid. Blanka, with this update, Blanka doesn't have any major adjustments. We did look at making the normal and special moves he uses for controlling space easier to lose, like his double knee bombs. They reduced the hurt box around his feet to make it easier to avoid lows. Drive gauge increase on crouching heavy punch, double knee bombs. Reduce hurt box around the feet, starting from the 9th frame of the technique. Change the midair hit effect on the first attack from a midair recovery to a blowback knockdown. Reduce the blowback time in midair attack. Okay, so you can juggle now. Towards heavy punch. Knockback time by 2 frames. Attack hits on the ground. Okay. Quality of life almost with his double knee press. Good for Blanka. Very minor. Whoa, the shortest one so far. Spinning back knuckle for Guile here. Guile has 2 changes. Just like Guile has 2 special moves, Guile has 2 changes. Towards heavy punch, drive gauge increase from 3,000 to 5,000. Overdrive sonic cross, which is quarter circle back 2 punches. Increase wall splat time by 3 frames on hit. Okay, they're trying to give more utility to the wall splat, which is very rare to see for the overdrive sonic blade. Kind of boring, but so are Guile players, so, you know. I think it all works in the end. Yeah, Guile not getting nerfed is a win for sure. Ken's appeal to players is that he's broken and easy to play and takes no brain power. Wow. Bold of Capcom to say the quiet part out loud. It's really nice to have a developer that understands its player base so thoroughly. Overdrive Shoryuken. Ken was able to benefit too much after either of these attacks, Super Art 1 or Overdrive, as he could send the opponent reeling back and then continue the pressure with Drive Rush, which combined with his great combos and throws to make him very scary. For this update, we've left his invincible attack as is, but after it connects, it'll be more difficult for him to continue with pressure, which should help constrain how many opportunities he gets. Cool. All right. Back throw. We've made the following up this throw after it connects more difficult, as it has great corner carry ability. Ken has back thrown you into the corner and then beat your ass for years, for decades at this point. I'll believe it when I see it. Are you telling me Ken's gonna back throw me into the corner and I'm not instantly in the corner and eating a drive rush stand heavy punch into Jinrai mix? I don't believe you. Forward step kick, heavy kick during quick dash. We adjusted the hurt box on this move as this move had more affinity than Jinrai kick at close range. We also adjusted it to reduce its return, taking into consideration the low risk of this move due to light attacks, adding initial scaling. On the other hand, the amount of drive gauge it gives has increased, so we still think it's going to be a useful attack and when you're looking to get a resource advantage. Heavy kick during quick dash. We adjusted the hurt box on this move as this move had more affinity than Jinrai kick. What does that even mean, dude? Back throw. Increase the distance created after this throw is successful when the throwing player was in the corner. So if Ken is in the corner, you get less Oki. I'll have to see an example. To know if this is actually going to have any impact or not. Affinity means you get more reward off of step kick frame trap than Jinrai one, but now it scales more. I guess. I mean, I understand affinity means they're trying to imply it has more reward. I just don't really understand how it does. So crouch heavy kick, reduce pushback on block. Yeah, his Ken's sweep was pretty strong. Forward step kick, added 20% initial scaling. Extended the hurt box forward during recovery. And changed the drive gauge increase from 2,000 to 3,000. The main thing it needed was a nerf to the pushback. Extended the hurt box forward during recovery. Step kick is what? -4 on hit? Or -4 on block, rather? Its only problem, in my opinion, was that you couldn't punish it. That was the problem. All they had to do was make this -5 and reduce the pushback. That's it. Yeah, it's -4. The problem is some characters can't punish this at all. If you're fighting a Juri As Ken, you could just do step kick all day because her jabs literally would not reach. So its problem was the pushback. So overdrive Shoryuken, decrease blowback time on hit. So it seems like they're also reducing the Oki advantage on Shoryuken, but by how much we don't know yet. Heavy Jinrai kick, change drive gauge increase from 2,000 to 3,000. Jinrai, just anytime you're trying to increase a positive attribute for Jinrai, just don't do it. Why? You don't need to throw Ken a bone. You don't need to give Ken anything. If there's any stat value related to Jinrai that is not cranking up recovery, and that's it. That is the only stat value you should be turning up. You should be turning down the block stun, turning down the hit advantage. You do not need to increase the drive gauge increase on this move. There is nothing about Jinrai in any version of this game that needed a buff. In any version. And then Super Art 1, decreased blowback time and knockdown time on hit. Yeah, less advantage on level 1 and OD. Which makes sense. Also, his level 1 side swaps, which is extremely powerful. So, that makes sense. You can't just instantly get the corner again. So, minor nerfs to Ken, to be honest. The nerfs outweigh the drive gauge increase. Yeah. Honestly, those are nerfs that will have some impact on his gameplay depending on how much they're implemented. This can be little or huge. The changes to his Oki situations from back throw, DP, and level 1. I'll have to see it in action to really form an opinion. Chun-Li, they wanted to increase her combo options. Medium punch during Serenity Stream. Due to the faster startup, it has become one of the better Serenity Stream options when also considering its range. Medium attacks hit multiple times on counter hit, meaning from crouching medium kick, etc. You can go into Serenity Stream, and then if you read the situation properly, knock down the opponent. Heavy spinning bird kick. We made adjustments to create more opportunities where it can hit multiple times, decreasing its usefulness. Buff drive gauge on stand heavy punch. Medium punch during Serenity Stream. Attack startup change from 11 to 7 frames? Is this the double hitting medium punch? Like the overhead looking? Is it her overhead? Why did they say medium attacks hit multiple times on counter hit? Meaning from crouch, medium kick, you can go into Serenity Stream. What does this sentence mean? Medium attacks hit multiple times on counter hit. What the fuck are they talking about? Chonky? Yeah, this sentence completely threw me off. I have no idea what they're talking about here. They added an extra hit to her slide? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I don't know what's happening there. So they buffed the slide. 5,000 to 2,000 drive gauge. Medium kick during Serenity Stream. Knockback time on hit increased by 2 frames. Okay. They buff. Okay, very minor changes to the Chun. Maybe they just buffed her slide. Zangief! He was buffed. They toned him down slightly. What did they do this time? Zangief is a character that's greatly affected by the jump cancel adjustment, so while his defensive capabilities have decreased greatly, we still think he's a character that's strong enough to compete. Because of this, for this update, we've looked at minor adjustments to throws that aren't used frequently and increased the meter gain on his stomping attack. Okay. So, meter buffs on all his unique regular throw options. His stomps technique can now be performed by pressing down plus medium attack when using mod. Okay, whatever. Drive gauge increase from 1,000 times 3 to 1,500 times 3. And Siberian Express. Bug fix. Okay, nothing. Nothing changed for Zangief. Gotcha. Saving me some time here. Dhalsim. Light punch and down back light kick. Rapid cancel timing into crouching light punch is now faster. And on block, it won't trade hits with an opponent's 4-frame startup attack. Wait, if you change crouching light punch into itself, it would trade? Did I not know this? You couldn't counter hit people with a chained cancel from crouching light punch with Dhalsim. Did I miss out on a whole year of being able to mash on Dhalsim without realizing this? I did not know that. I did not know that Dhalsim cannot chain. Is there other characters in the game where that's an issue? I feel Blanka's light strings work that way too. Those 3 Dhalsims go away with it. You don't know how much MR I've lost to Dhalsim. Dhalsim is one of the most frequent characters I run into on ranked. So the instant you block a light from Dhalsim, you could have just mashed. Interesting. Well, wish I knew that sooner. Would have saved me some MR. Overdrive Yoga Flame. Due to the rapid cancel timing for light attacks, it wasn't possible to connect the combo stand light punch, crashing light punch, overdrive Yoga Flame, light Yoga Inferno. Gets any opponent point blank range. We made adjustments. Okay, so better combos from lights. Yeah, so you can actually. Apparently, this was a thing that you couldn't do before, but now you can frame trap with your lights. Stand heavy punch, drive gauge increase, crouch heavy drive gauge increase, crouch and light kick drive gauge increase. Reduce blowback and overdrive, Yoga Fire, the OD Fireball. Okay, that's about it. Better light frame traps and a couple of better light combos. Cool. Minor changes for Sim. Rashid! Rashid had the ability to counter-strike for big damage in too many situations, so we've taken a look at adjusting that aspect. So all you need to open with this, there shouldn't be a giant paragraph following this up. It should just say, level 2 deleted. There should not be a long paragraph here. There should not be a long paragraph here. The more words you're writing, the more concerned I am here. Overdrive Spitting Mixer. The situation after hit was far too good for Rashid, so he could use either Drive Rush or Call Upon Super Art 2. Okay, so this is from his ODDP. It'll depend on where the hit takes place. It was also possible to send the opponent into the corner while recovering drive gauge, which was too advantageous for Rashid. So we've made adjustments to make it more difficult to create an offensive opportunity if this attack hits. So they're nerfing the advantage after the OD spinning mixer. Okay. Super Art 1. That's the wrong Super Art. Come on now. Because this attack is also a powerful defensive measure due to its side switch ability, Rashid's advantage after hit is now lessened, so it's more difficult. Okay, so same idea. The invincible side swap supers seem to have been nerfed in their frame advantage after. Side flip, 2 kicks. They make it more difficult to avoid an opponent's drive reversal by combining his powerful cancel drive rush capability with side flip. It was possible to have side flip be performed only when the opponent performed their drive reversal, like an option select. Okay. For other characters who have similar capabilities, but considering Rashid's crushing medium kick prowess, the advantage he has after a drive rush, and his options after a drive rush, adding side flip option to the mix was far too advantageous as a counter for Rashid. Interesting. So you can't dodge DPs. I guess they're looking at low forward drive rush into side flip to dodge DP OS. Backup, forward plus punch during run, added 20% scaling. Wait, which move is that? Forward plus punch during run. Is that a slide? Okay. Side flip. Collision push box now disappears 2 frames later. Updated the technique so that Rashid does not completely overlap the opponent when performing this technique while the opponent is in the corner. Okay, interesting, whatever. Overdrive. Spinning mixer. Reduce blowback time when the final attack hits. Reduce blowback distance when the final attack hits. Increase knockdown time by 5 frames when the final attack doesn't hit. Okay. So if the final attack doesn't hit, they made it so that you're probably not going to get punished for hitting it, but for sure there's some kind of reduction in frame advantage. So we'll have to see what the situation is like. And same idea from the level 1. The advantage when hit with the grounded cinematic is changed from plus 11 to plus 1. Wow, that's big. You get like no frame advantage now. If that's similar to how it is for the ODDP, that's really big. Wow, okay. I think that's fair. Having a side swap level 1 was another small aspect of being a top tier character. Playing when you had a character in Burnout in the corner, and say they only had like a level 1, the strategy was often to just immediately force them to spend the level 1. I would just immediately go for a DI string and just say, hey, if you spend level 1, I'm going to back roll and I'm going to keep the corner. And then I'm going to put you in a guaranteed checkmate right after. So with characters like Ken and Rashid and who else had it? Cammy? I guess Cammy just has a lot of corner carry, right? You couldn't do that because they would side swap and then control the pace of the game from mid-screen. So having a side swap level 1 was a huge advantage for Burnout defense. Now, yeah, they really don't want to change level 2, but there is kind of, I guess this is just a coincidental nerf to level 2. If they start nerfing the ways you can activate level 2, that could be a way to slow it down. A big problem with Rashid's level 2 is not just the utility of it, it's how he's able to set it up. He requires setups in order to be able to activate it. It has like a 9-frame startup. If you have a 9-frame move and you're in range and he does it raw, you just counter hit him out of it, right? So if they continue to chip away at those safe activations where there's no counterplay, then I also think that's an appropriate nerf to the level 2. If it's slower than 9, I think it's a 10-frame startup, so you need a 9-frame move to counter hit it. Something like that. I know for sure a 9-frame move will counter hit it. Maybe it's a bit more, but if you're in range, you can counter hit it for sure. Or level 3 through it, for example. So there's options. 11-frame, there you go. So there's options, right? That's why he has to set up an OD projectile, get a specific knockdown, this, that, or the third. So if there's ways where they adjust the other moves in his toolkit to minimize the amount of checkmate scenarios you can set up with it, essentially, I think it's fine for it to be busted. All right, here we go. Aki. Now, unfortunately, or rather fortunately for Broski, they published this before his win, so the nerfs are delayed for another balance patch at least. In order to give some attention to Aki's toxic Blossom combos, we've slightly relaxed the follow-up attack conditions for her combos that were previously quite strict and increased her combo routes. She has like some of the most combo routes in the game. That's interesting to hear. Heavy Serpent Lash. We've adjusted this attack so that the follow-up attack limitations are relaxed when Toxic Blossom is triggered, giving her the ability to follow up more during combos. As an example, in the corner of the stage, after Overdrive, Nightshade, Pulse, Heavy Serpent Lash, etc., you can follow up with any attack other than a super art. What the hell is a Nightshade Pulse, man? I don't know what any of these words are. I played the character. Is it the bubble? Is it the whip? Is it the slide? Is it the stabby hands? Come on, man. How do I get the chunky damage? Heavy Cruel Fate, quarter circle back heavy kick. Oh, that's stabby hands. If you hit a mid-air opponent with this, the height of their jump would determine if you could follow up with Heavy Serpent Lash or not, but this was difficult for players to judge, and if you missed, the opponent would get a juicy counter-attack opportunity, so we made an adjustment to ensure that Heavy Serpent Lash will not miss, even if the opponent's jump was low to the ground. Okay, so you never have to worry about missing that combo. Guaranteed combo if they're hit airborne at all from stabby hands. That's very good. Buff on drive gauge and Insane Heavy Punch. Wow. So they buffed her combo routes for Heavy Serpent Lash when Toxic Blossom when the poison is procced, and guaranteed combos from any airborne hit with the stabby hands. All right. Not bad. Solid buffs. All right. It's time. I'm certain there's going to be nerfs in here. Here we go. Ed. Conceptually, Ed is a strong mid-range fighter, but many of his long-range attacks gave him a good return, and this proved to be too oppressing. For this balance adjustment, we reviewed the risk of those spacing tools that led to a lot of damage, and slightly adjusted attacks and combos used when on the defensive, which will reduce his ability to turn the tide of battle when fighting in close quarters. Stand medium kick, crouching medium kick, great buttons. Against a lot of characters, this attack was able to take the initiative in encounters, and from a cancel, the damage was good. So we decided to increase the risk when the attack whiffs. Now on whiff, it's easier for the opponent to take their turn, forcing Ed players to be more careful when throwing this out. Fair. Kill rush, backwards. The hurtbox during this technique is expanded forward, no! Making Ed more susceptible to an attack if they try to step back after holding on to Psycho Flicker and are late or predictable with their decision. Other tactics, such as going from a normal attack to Psycho Flicker, then reading the situation and performing Kill Rush backwards, are also more vulnerable to a well-placed drive impact from the opponent. Yeah, it seems like they're trying to make it so that DI is just easier. It's harder to juke DIs. Crouching Light Kick, not the God button. This attack featured great startup and range, and on hit, it gave you a really nice return, which made it too good in defensive situation. With this adjustment, we made it so that Crouching Light Kick can't hit again on... Are you kidding me? You can't do Crouching Light Kick, counter hit into Crouching Light Kick, so it's harder to get a return when stopping an opponent's offense. Please know that there are no changes to this move when used consecutively during a cancel. No changes to this move when used consecutively during a cancel. I don't know what that means, but it sounds to me like they're saying there's no change to like Crouching Light Kick into OD Blitz. Speaking of OD Blitz, considering how good the return is when this attack lands, we made adjustments so that Ed can be counterattacked by a light when this attack is... They made it unsafe on block. And also increase the distance traveled during the first attack. While the risk of canceling during a block has increased, it should be easier to put together combos from a further distance now. Fair. Super Art 2 Psycho Cannon, we made adjustments so the drive gauge reduction for the opponent happens during the final stage of the attack. When starting combos with this attack with Ed's back to the corner, he's able to get high damage, and he can gradually chipping away at the opponent's drive gauge while recovering his own. This gauge disparity gives Ed far too much of an advantage after this combo. While the weakening of combo starting attacks doesn't change the damage, the opponent can now recover drive during long combos, so the gauge disparity won't be as big as before. So the initial hits will do literally 0 drive gauge damage. I see they're getting a little funky with this. I see what they're trying to do, because I mean, what they're talking about is the dream combos, right? As you're doing the dream combos, they last for so long so that you start building your own drive gauge back the whole time. They're slowly losing theirs, and they don't fully lose their drive gauge until you're already done with the full combo and you're pushed towards the corner. And then you start doing the lockout for your drive gauge recovery. And then you can start building your drive gauge back. So it happens all too late. But with this, that means you're going to be building drive gauge while getting beat up the whole time. You'll be building drive gauge. So by the time if the final hit does connect, then you'll lose 1 bar drive gauge, which will reduce your overall drive gauge loss. But you'll still be in the same drive gauge lockout situation. So essentially, it just reduces the amount of drive gauge damage that the sequence will do. So the level 2 combo won't burn you out. It won't do 1 bar drive gauge. If you're not extending with a super, that means that if you have to choose if you want to do drive gauge damage or if you're trying to build your own drive gauge and push them to the corner. Because if you get an OD Blitz into level 2 and you want to like do 1 bar drive gauge, you have to immediately just like not go for a dream combo. But that also nerfs even regular level 2 combos. That nerfs even your regular level 2 non-dream combos. If you do it from OD Blitz, I guess you're going to have to do the grounded combos, which are much weaker. So you have to choose. If you cancel OD Blitz on the first hit, the first final hit before the second to the actual final hit, they'll be grounded, and you can dump out all the hits at level 2 right away and do a much weaker combo. but then you'll immediately get the level 2 damage. Not even immediately. There's still a delay. They'll build drive meter that whole time. Sounds like you can never do a full bar drive meter damage. So, yeah, you have to think about what you're going to have to consider your routing a lot more. But I do appreciate that they're not trying to just delete the crazy combos. I at least appreciate that. They're trying to work with it. They're like, oh shit, it's a happy accident. Let's see what we can do to make this not overkill. Let's see. Crush and light kick. Recovery changed from 11 to 12 frames. Advantage on hit changed from +3 to +2. Okay, so they just changed the advantage on hit. Wait, that's my fucking drive reversal punish. No, that's bad. That's bad. Because this, you use crouching light kick to combo into stand medium punch. This literally means Ed has the worst drive reversal punish in the game. This literally means that Ed has by far the worst drive reversal punish in the game. Because his stand medium is 7 frames. So he was structured a little bit differently. At crouching light kick, his best light is 5 frames, and his mediums are 7 frames. So that means he can't combo into medium punch, right? Stand light kick? Would that work? That's so strange. Yeah, I guess you gotta do stand light kick. Why would you? What is the damage on that? That's I'm concerned about the pushback on that also. That's a weird combo starter. I've never used that. $300 damage on stand light kick. Crouch light kick. Okay, it's the same damage. If that works, then that's fine. I was concerned for a second. I didn't even realize stand light kick would be the option. You can do stand light kick to stand medium punch. Okay. That's just weird muscle memory changing, but that's fine. What is the... Okay, stand medium kick. Spin the hurt box forward from frames 25 through 31. Recovery by 2 frames. Increase recovery by 1 frame on crouching medium kick. Spin the hurt box forward from frames 24 to 25 when the attack misses. You know what? That's fine. Don't whiff. Whatever. This will for sure be a nerf because it is very easy to just fish mindlessly with stand medium kick. But fair also. Towards heavy punch, drive gauge increase. Seems like they gave it pretty consistent drive gauge increase across the board for a lot of the big heavy pokes. Psycho Flicker. Change the timing when the hurt box extends forward from the point when moving to the attack to when the technique begins. Change the timing from when the hurt box extends forward from the point when moving to the attack to when. So did they buff the hurt box on this to make it better for dealing with fireballs? Or did they nerf it? What is technique? So is the hurt box extending earlier or later? Okay, it's extending earlier. This is a very ambiguous phrasing. Okay, they extended the hurt box earlier, so it's weaker against projectiles as well. OD Blitz from -3 to -4. This is a big nerf, but also whatever. Also fair. How come Ed doesn't get a bone here? Yeah, it's crazy that they nerfed Ed like this, and they didn't give him any consolation prize. Where Ken, the golden fucking child, always gets something. Forward heavy punch meter gain. Yeah. Sure. To be clear, hurtbox is my attack's hitbox to hit the enemy. Hitbox is my character's body to get hit. The inverse. Hitbox is the box that can actually inflict damage. Hurtbox is the box that is it has to be intersected with a hitbox to be hit by. So your hurt box is where you can get hit. Your hitbox is where you can do damage. Yeah, hitbox hit, hurtbox gets hurt. Okay, Akuma. Akuma's concept is that he's a glass cannon and that he has high damage specs.
Time to switch back to Jamie Kappa.
Let's see. Akuma's concept is that he's a glass cannon that has high damage specs but low vitality. However, due to Akuma's great mobility and attacks, it was very difficult for opponents to choose the correct option to deal with him, which resulted in Akuma being a more stable character than intended. So we took a look at his abilities primarily in the neutral game. Backward walk. There were many characters who had few ways to counter a defensive Akuma who could retreat and throw out moves to keep opponents at bay. So we slowed down his movement speed when he moved backwards. That's huge. Those will make it more difficult for him to maintain his favored space and also make it more difficult to adjust his spacing. Towards medium kick, the toe tap. Considering the excellent reach on this move as well as its overall recovery, we increase the risk on it if it misses the opponent. What, more recovery? Fireball. We've looked at increasing the number of ways opponents can deal with this attack, as it was harder to deal with this compared to other projectiles, thanks to its speed and animation. Although it's difficult to react to the attack, it's now easier to hit Akuma using projectile invincible attacks or jumping attacks from range. Interesting. So what, extended hurtbox? Demon Swoop. Hold down during Demon Raid. Even if opponents were able to read that a Demon Swoop was incoming, it was extremely difficult for opponents to guarantee themselves an attack upon landing, which is one of the reasons why Akuma players who are being chased could switch sides so easily. To remedy this, we've increased the landing recovery of this technique when Akuma jumps over his opponent. Interesting. That... Okay, let's see how they actually implemented that, but that could actually hurt his Oki options, because there's so many setups where you use that as an Oki option. Overdrive Tatsu Maki Zanku Kyaku Oditatsu. After using this in a mid-air combo, we've adjusted so that Akuma won't be susceptible to a counterattack if they miss light go shuriken follow-up due to their height of the opponent. Okay, whatever. Who cares? Backwalk speed reduced. Huge fundamental nerf to the character. Absolutely. Crouching medium kick. Window to cancel into a drive impact is now 2 frames faster. Okay, sure. Crouching heavy kick. Distance Akuma is pushed back when attack is blocked is reduced. Yes, sir. Push back on block reduced. Distance Akuma is pushed back. Distance Akuma is pushed back when attack is block is reduced. 2. Pushback on block reduced. What? You know, I consider myself literate usually, but every time I'm reading Street Fighter patch notes, I really doubt that my brain is actually performing the act of reading. Sometimes I'll read these sentences and then I'll be like, yeah, I said all the words on the page. And then I stop for a brief moment to reflect. And I say, I have no idea what just happened. I don't know if I said the words written there correctly or not. And I have no concept of what meaning they're trying to implant in my mind. Distance. Akuma is pushed back when attack is block is reduced. 2, pushback on block reduced. Shouldn't this just be 1, pushback on block reduced? Oh, okay. So they're saying literally Akuma is not moving backwards as far and you're not moving backwards as far. So they're specifying both ends of the pushback. Sure. Okay. I see the need to differentiate now. So Akuma is not moving further away. If he's on player 1 side, he's not moving further to the left. And on player 2 side, you're not moving further to the right. Sure. The effect is you're closer. So towards medium kick, recovery when the attack misses change from 30 to 31 frames. Oh no, watch out now. Careful of that medium kick. Careful of those toes. One whole frame of recovery there. Expanded the hurt box forward from frames 30 to 31 when the attack misses. This, I mean, whatever. Buff the drive gauge for his regular ass dive kick. Go Hadoken. Expanded the hurt box forward after attack startup. Okay. Yeah, they buffed everyone else versus his fireball. Hurt box extended. Nerf the damage on his ODDP. And then Light Demon Raid. Updated to match other strengths of the technique so that movement speed changes when jumping over the opponent. Updated to match other strengths. So the light one will now match medium and heavy so that movement speed changes when jumping over the opponent. So the light and the heavies, do they slow down when you cross over? I think what they're trying to say is with light, it was a consistent speed, or the speed didn't change when you cross over the opponent's head. But I think with light, with medium and heavy, I think it has this effect where it goes fast and then it sort of slows down when crossing over to the other side. Whereas light would just fly over to the other side and never slow down. So that's why you're able to cross over really quick and land. So I think they were trying to say, hey, we also gave it that effect where it slows down when crossing over, so it's not going to be a complete ambiguous flying out of the corner situation, and they're going to have an advantage. Easier to see and potentially slower in that sense, where that they're going to land later, and maybe even punishable in some situations. It's hard to know. It could potentially be that before they would land and have advantage. Well, for sure here, right here, Demon Swoop, the empty. Because if you don't perform any action out of Demon Flip, it goes into the slide, remember. So here it says, added 5 frames of landing recovery when jumping over the opponent. That's huge. That's huge. That nerfs a lot of Oki setups. There were so many Oki setups where you would just do Demon Flip and then hold down, and you're +2 in their face. Now they're going to be -3. So they're going to have to adjust a lot of Oki setups to actually maintain frame advantage. And then maybe in combination with the light kick one, that's increased slowdown here if they cross over. So maybe if they cross over you with light kick and do the demon raid, that might be punishable. It's only on cross up. Right, but you don't know if you're going to cross up or not in a lot of situations because you don't know which way they're teching. You just do the demon flip. So a lot of knockdowns you could just do, like after heavy Hashogeki, for example, heavy adamant fist. You just do, I believe it's heavy kick demon flip and then hold down. And if they back roll, you're in front. If they quick rise, you side swapped. Or maybe it was light. I forget the exact strength. But that was one of the setups, right? So you would just get Oki and it didn't matter. Like the way the opponent teched determined the side, influenced that. So now it's more variable and also punishable. Okay, Akuma didn't get nerfed that hard, to be quite honest. It depends, once again, just like on the Oki situations with Ken, it depends on how much they actually reduce the backwalk speed. This could be huge. And then it depends on how much they actually increase the hurt box and the fireballs. So this could be small to big. And this is definitely like a medium nerf, for sure. These things definitely add up. Akuma is definitely nerfed. It adds up, but I still think Akuma's going to be strong, fundamentally. M. Bison we already looked at. Let's go to Terry. My OG main Terry. I've mained Terry since day one. Never doubted. Terry has been given some adjustments to improve his attack proficiency at mid to close range and to brush up on some spots we felt were difficult to use. The aim is to make him easier to handle, as well as bringing out his personality a bit more. Crouching medium punch. On punish counter, this would combo to heavy punch charge for big damage, but there were some ranges where it wouldn't connect. That's what I'm saying. Oh no, heavy power charge? No, I'm talking about heavy punch. I just want to see heavy punch buff. If you don't buff the stand heavy punch, I'm going to be really annoyed. Leading to dropped combos. We've adjusted it so that when attacking the main hurt box, heavy power charge is guaranteed to combo. That would happen too, though. That's still good. Please note that the attack hits a hurt box that comes out in front of the main hurt box. It still may not connect for a combo. Standing light kick and standing medium punch can now reach targets easier, so your options are also improved at close range. Okay. Light power charge. Due to the reduced pushback on hit with crouching medium punch, the attack hitbox on the first frame has been reduced in order to not decrease situations where you're aiming to hit during active frames. Due to the reduced pushback on hit with crouching medium punch, so crouching medium punch leaves you closer now on hit, the attack hitbox on the first frame has been reduced in order to not decrease situations where you're aiming to hit during active. Okay, so this sounds like a nerf, but they're actually trying to give this a change to make it consistent so that you would sometimes do spaced out stand light kick conversions into the tackle, because you want to hit spaced out with his tackle so that you can actually hit on a later active frame and get a combo. So it sounds like a nerf, but because they reduced the pushback on hit for crouching medium punch, they adjusted the hitbox. They reduced the hitbox in the light kick so that it hits later, and that you can still consistently get combos into the late active frame of the tackle, so that you can extend after the tackle. So it sounds like a nerf at first, but it's actually kind of a buff. It might be a nerf for buffering it and neutral, though. Medium power wave made it easier to use as a zoning attack as compensation for the range on his normal attacks. The hurt box before the attack startup has been reduced. Huh. So easier to counter other projectiles with? Okay. He'll do better in fireball battles. His light fireball was the one that travels slowly on the ground and didn't interact with regular fireballs. The medium fireball one had an initial hitbox which would cancel other projectiles. So sounds like they're trying to improve his ability to cancel other projectiles and get his own fireball game started. Overdrive Crack Shoot, Overdrive Burning Knuckle, Super Art 2 Power Geyser. There were times when a follow-up attack wasn't always guaranteed when those attacks hit a mid-air opponent, so we made adjustments to mitigate those. Cool. Super Art 2. Oh, this is the... Are they specifying the OG input? Down, down, back, back, down, back, forward. I've never done this input. We designed this attack so players have an easier time performing it, but also introduced times when it was performed with slightly incorrect inputs. The conditions for this command input were more lax than what was necessary, and sometimes being performed with completely different commands, such as down, forward, down, back, down, forward. So the attack has been updated to require a quarter circle back input. Okay. I never use that input. I think it just changes the animation. I don't know if it actually has any gameplay implications. This is the Easter egg input for the original, or one of the original SNK Power Geyser super inputs. So I'm fairly certain this just changes the visuals and it doesn't do anything to actually change the gameplay inputs implications of it all. So yeah. Standing heavy punch, please give it more range. Change disadvantage on block from -1 to +1. What? Why did they say that first? Why is this not the first thing they say? Dude, they don't... Why do they bury the lead? He has a plus on block heavy? Overall length of this technique on block reduced by 2 frames. This adjustment was made in order to ensure there are no timing differences whether the attack is blocked or hits. Okay. Wow. Plus on block heavy. Crouching medium punch, reduced pushback on hit. Crouch heavy kick. Updated so that the attack hitbox that hits a grounded opponent is lower and can't be absorbed by the upper body armor. Updated the attack hitbox that hits a grounded opponent is lower and can't be absorbed by up. Okay, so you can use his sweep versus Marisa, for example. Cool. I feel like Terry is already pretty good against Marisa. I prefer using Terry versus Marisa than Ed. But that can be good for Geef as well. Power dunk, medium punch, heavy kick, heavy kick. Updated the effects and hit sound on a clean hit. Okay, I like that. There is a clean hit on the final heavy kick, but I could never tell when I got it. It was so subtle. So now they're making maybe a more clear distinction between them because you get different Oki on the clean hit. Medium power wave, hurtbox expansion timing change from 16th to 18th frame. So okay, they reduced the hurtbox, so it's easier to cancel other projectiles. Heavy round wave, overall technique length changed from 53 to 51 frames. Recovery on grounded block or hit has not changed. I wonder what they changed. So they did it and changed. Maybe they just changed the block stun and reduced animations during the block stun. So startup and recovery are the same. They just reduced the overall length. Drive gauge reduction on block changed from 5,000 to 7,000. Big. So what is this implication here? Is there anything that actually matters from this? You get medium tackle after the juggle? Oh, right. So for combo juggles, that makes sense. Okay, you recover sooner, so that means maybe you can cancel sooner. I wasn't even thinking about the combo cancel implications in the with that. Yeah, so that this probably means that you can cancel things sooner out of it, and then get new juggles. Okay. Light power charge. Reduce attack hitbox in first active frame of the attack. Oh, they made this easier. Reduce the attack hitbox in the first active frame of the attack. So once again, this sounds like a nerf, but this is them saying, hey, it's easier to get hit on the second active frame, which is where you want to land, so they can get these combo extensions. So this is this makes it actually easier to get the combo extensions. Crack shoot. So quarter circle back light. Kick. They buff the drive gauge damage. Okay. Medium crack shoot. Change advantage on hit from +1 to +3. Okay, so this counter hits, you can get a combo now. Stand light kick gets 5 frames, right? That means you can put. Yo, can you maybe cancel from heavy punch now into medium crack shoot and counter hit them, and then get a combo to stand light kick? Change behavior on grounded counter hit from knockback to hard knockdown. Oh, you get a hard knockdown. Okay. Wait, is that good? Hard knockdown. Interesting. Buff the drive gauge. Fix an issue where knockback time was longer than the whatever. Heavy crack shoot. Drive gauge from 2,000 to 3,000. Or increased 2,000 to 3,000. So that's good because this is one of your common combo tools. So you're going to gain more drive gauge when doing this as a combo tool. And also using it on block, do more drive gauge damage. Overdrive crack shoot, 2 kicks. Reduce horizontal blowback on mid-air hit. Okay, yeah, if you hit them out of the air, it was hard to pick up mid-screen. So this might make it easier to get combos mid-screen. Overdrive burning knuckle. Reduce blowback on mid-air hit. Change drive gauge reduction on block from 6,000 to 8,000. So maybe easier conversions into level 2. Power Geyser. Expanded the attack hitbox that appears only during a combo. Reduce horizontal blowback. Expanded the twin geyser attack hit. Yeah, so sometimes they would just fall out of it. So this is just to increase reliability for this. Okay. Wow. Terry got some pretty good buffs. Sounds like his... It's weird how they don't mention the plus on block heavy. They don't mention the implications of this change, right? They like the fact that the heavy power wave, the technique changed from 53 to 51 frames. This does not explain that he gets new juggle combos. Like, there is a whole change here that is not explained by the technical property adjustments. I can't believe he has a plus on block move now, and it's a heavy punch. I am for sure going to play more Terry. Now, I think they also addressed my biggest issue I had many issues, but I really did not like the interaction between his crouch medium and his stand heavy because of how often punish counter crouching medium to stand heavy would cause the stand heavy punch to hit on a second active frame, and then the combo would drop, and then I'd be punished. Because of reduced pushback on hit for crouching medium punch, that should be addressed. And, you know, I kind of wanted his heavy punch to have more range, but I'll accept the combination of reduced pushback on the crouch medium and the +1 block for stand heavy. I accept the terms of this exchange here. Hey, I played Terry for a month straight and, you know, lost my ability to play Ed and drowned in my important tournaments, all right? What's up, Vi? You can also get crouching medium punch and 2 standing light punches on normal hit now. Yeah. Crouching medium punch is going to be real buff now. Terry got some good changes for sure. And they improved his fireball game to deal with other fireball characters. This is good. This is good.